Do you think Deltarune is going to tell or have a similar game breaking level of or game changing level of influence on the genre?
I think Toby Fox is struggling with that because, like, I think it's kind.
I mean, chapter one came out what, like 2 or 3 years ago?
Well, I mean, it's almost like having your like your dad being like John Lennon or something. It's like how do you go forward after being in the shadows of such a giant, you know? It's
Uh
like
huh.
it's the same thing. It's like if you make such a great game, how the hell do you follow up with that? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of game studios suffer
Mhm.
from that,
But
of just stuff like that. Like Silk Song is taking forever to come out because I'm sure they want to make it as crisp as possible and just like different enough from Hollow Knight that people are gonna be like, this is a new game changing
mhm,
Metroidvania, because Hollow Knight was so crisp and concise and
mhm, mhm,
perfect. And then to move on to another game, it that sounds just incredibly
mhm,
difficult. And it like even AAA studios I think suffer
mhm,
with that. Like Santa Monica Studios going from God of War 3 to the God of War on the PS4 was such an insane tone
mhm,
shift. Like God of War 3 is Kratos at his most toxic masculine self of destroying every god on
mhm.
Greece. And then you go to God of War 4 where he has a son and he's trying to be not Greek
Uh-huh.
Kratos and trying to be a father and
Mhm,
stuff. And just to step out of the shadow of the God of War series being just a really crisp hack and
mhm,
slash on the
mhm,
PS3 and making a game that was emotionally
mhm,
satisfying as God of War on the
mhm.
PS4. I don't think every game developer can do that.
Well, like, and I'm sure like the fan base really there was a lot of backlash on the fan base.
I don't know if there was, because it's still
Mhm,
Kratos. Like you still get to beat up gods and
mhm,
stuff, but it is such a crazy tone shift. There might have
mhm.
been some, but I don't think
Well,
it
I mean,
really.
because like there's always like a part of the fan base that will get like crazy about some little thing like that. Like for
Mhm.
instance, like there was a lot of people that apparently hated the Breath of the Wild soundtrack, and to me,
Yeah, because it's so non-Zelda
that's
like.
like the best thing of it. Like I love that
Mhm.
soundtrack to like the at to the bottom of my heart, man. But like yeah, fan bases always have like a part of it that I guess they want everything to almost be the same, but at the same time when you cater to that fan base, it becomes something kind of like how Star Wars Episode 7 kind of just became a clone of,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, those fans want something that's exactly the same but also totally
Mhm,
different. You find it in like music, like fans of certain
mhm,
bands as well, too, where a band will move in a different like sonic
mhm,
direction, and a bunch of fans will get up in arms because like, well, that doesn't sound like your last album, and I really like, why are you not doing the music that made you famous or whatever? And it's like, it when it comes down to it, creative people make what they want to put
mhm,
out, and you either need to get along, like either embrace it or just don't shit on them about
mhm,
it. It's
mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, especially like rock bands that are supposed to do that. But I mean, like Nintendo is like one of those innovators that do that all the time, and sometimes they come out
Mm-hmm.
with like bombs like Zelda 2 or like you know, you can argue the Skyward Sword was kind of like that too. But then they always or like a better one, the Wii U, you know, like that bombed and a
Yep.
lot of people agree that that was a bad system, you know, or it was a lazily built system, let's say. And like the thing is though, Nintendo is willing to up their game each time, you know, and sometimes they bomb, yeah. But then by doing this, they also very often come up with some amazing, amazing games, you know?
Yeah, and just knock it out of the park, and nobody even comes
Yeah.
close.
Cause like I think after the PS2, beat them in that whatever generation that was. I think that was third or fourth generation. Fourth generation.
Something like
Like
that.
I think they started as like, okay, enough is enough. We're gonna beat you, like hands down each time.
Uh-huh.
Now you got systems like the DS, the Wii, like the Switch. Like these are systems that have such a high demand that they have to re-release them every once in a while and in different forms
Yep.
too. I don't know how many different reiterations of the DS they had.
Oh my god, it went. This is my biggest gripe with Nintendo, honestly, though, is their naming convention for the DS. It went, I think it was DS, new DS, DSi, new DSi, 3DS, new 3DS, and then I think there was the 3DS
And then
Max or something.
there was
It's
the
like,
2DS.
why are you calling it
Yeah,
this?
there was also the XL, the 3DS XL, and
Yeah.
then there's the 2DS where it didn't. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So like it was, yeah, they just.
It's not as bad as Xbox's naming conventions now, but gosh.
Yeah, you're gonna get to a point where it's like there's so many Xboxes that you just ask yourself, why box? Why box anymore?
That's a good joke. That was a good one. I like that
But
one.
like, yeah, sometimes like you gotta do, and I think Undertale is one of these like innovators that really, really came into the spotlight at the perfect time and really hit it, knocked it out of the park. Like it did something that was completely unconventional, but it's unconvention, or let me say it's opposition to convention is what made it turn into a new mainstream.
Yeah.
Yep. And